Have you ever stopped to think about the names you hear every single day? What if I told you they might not mean what you think they mean? Not because of translation, but because of their very sound. Today, we're diving into a really interesting method that claims to decode a hidden and frankly often shocking message that's embedded in the sounds of names from pop culture and way beyond.
Just think about names that are known all over the world. I'm talking millions, maybe billions of people know them. Names like Pokemon or Naruto. What if there's a code hidden right in plain sight, or rather, in plain sound, that we've all just completely missed?
Okay, let's just jump right in with a big one. Pokemon. We all know it's short for pocket monsters, right? Well, according to this phonetic system we're looking at, the sounds Pokemon decode to something, well, a lot darker. Opening a portal of burning entities. Yeah, that is a massive leap from cute little creatures you keep in your pocket.
And the supposed pattern doesn't stop there. Take Naruto. The name's famous translation is whirlpool. But if you just listen to the sounds phonetically, this system claims the decoded message is a rising spirit twisting what is called good. It suggests this completely different, much heavier layer of meaning.
So I know what you're probably thinking, because it's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, where in the world are these meanings coming from? How are they being pulled from just simple sounds? What is the system behind all these claims? Let's break it down.
All right, the method is called Shemra. At its core, it's a system that claims to use the root sounds of ancient Hebrew to decode pretty much any name out there. The whole key idea is to completely bypass translation and all the cultural context we're used to, and instead focus only on the purest sound to find what it calls the name's true identity. This makes the whole process supposedly reproducible and something you can apply across any culture.
The entire philosophy behind this is really summed up by this one quote from the source material. Translation can hide or alter meaning, phonetics cannot. So the idea is that while you can manipulate translations and definitions, the actual sound itself, the vibration, is constant. It's raw and it carries an unfiltered message.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, the process is laid out in 5 pretty clear steps. Let's use Goku as a quick example. Step 1. You take the sound of the name, not the spelling. Step 2, you break it into its syllables, go and ku. Step 3 is the crucial part. You map those sounds to ancient Hebrew phonetic roots. The investigation claims go maps to a root meaning to exalt oneself, and ku maps to a root for the void or nothingness. Step 4, you just merge them together, exalting oneself into the void. And then finally, step 5, you state that as the name's raw phonetic meaning. And that's the basic method we're going to see applied again and again.
All right, now that we kind of get the process, let's see what happens when it's applied to one of the biggest cultural forces on the entire planet: anime.
The investigation apparently applied this method to dozens of famous anime titles, and the patterns they claim to have found are, well, they're pretty consistent. Bleach is decoded as a lord over the life breath. Attack on Titan becomes the twisted mark of the fallen ones. You start to see the theme here. Over and over again, what seem like simple action-oriented titles are claimed to reveal these much heavier spiritual undertones.
But to see just how deep this rabbit hole supposedly goes, the investigation provides a case study on a massive franchise, Dragon Ball Z, and it decodes the names of its most iconic characters.
So you've got to start with the main hero, Goku. We usually associate his name with things like enlightenment or the sky. But like we just saw, the Shemra analysis of the sounds go and ku gives us a completely different message, exalting oneself into the void. I mean, that creates a really jarring contrast between the hero we see on screen and the identity supposedly hidden in his name.
And the same thing happens with his rival, Vegeta. His name is a pretty well-known play on the word vegetable, but phonetically, Vegeta is decoded as a 4-in-1 entering with a mark. It's like the system is claiming to find a spiritual blueprint that has absolutely nothing to do with the name's fun, known origin.
So these documents are claiming to find these consistent, dark, spiritual patterns all throughout anime. But here's the big question. Is this just a modern Japanese entertainment thing? Or does this method claim to work across all kinds of cultures and even across time?
To answer that, the investigation takes a huge leap back in time and applies the exact same phonetic rules to the deities of an ancient civilization, Egypt.
Okay, take Ra, the supreme sun god, the source of light and light in all of Egyptian mythology. According to this analysis, that single phonetic sound Ra is a clear Hebrew root that means headship of calamity, or basically evil. That is a complete 180 from the deity's traditional role.
And this claim of cross-cultural consistency just keeps going with Osiris, the lord of the afterlife. The sounds of his name, Osiris, are decoded as a strong being with a poisoned headship. You see that? We're seeing the same alleged themes of corrupted leadership and negative spiritual forces that were supposedly found in all those anime examples.
So across all of these decoded names, from anime heroes to ancient gods, the source documents claim that one specific phonetic root appeared with, well, startling frequency. It's the thing that ties it all together, and they argue that this is the single most important discovery of the whole investigation.
The investigation identified the ancient Hebrew root, Sam. Its meaning is direct, it's unambiguous: poison, venom, a toxic force. This single phonetic key, they claim, is what unlocks the final layer of this whole hidden message.
And here's the connection they make. The common Japanese honorific sama, the one used to show great respect to a lord or a master or a god, is phonetically identical to this root for poison. So the Shemra system concludes that every single time sama is used, the hidden phonetic meaning is actually poisonous exaltation, like a marker of a false, toxic elevation that's just disguised as honor.
So, what does this all add up to? When you combine the decoded titles and the character names and the ancient gods and this key finding about Sama, what is the final, unified message that's being presented in this source material?
The investigation concludes that a really clear set of themes emerges again and again, no matter the culture or the time period. These are what they call the spiritual signatures found encoded in the phonetics. Themes of poison, rebellion, identity that's rooted in nothingness, twisted spirits, the exaltation of oneself, and concealed identities.
And this all leads to the master conclusion of the entire project, which is stated right here in this quote. The claim is that many of these popular stories are engineered to exalt false, poisonous, and rebellious identities, but they're cleverly disguising them as heroes, masters, and even gods. So, we've just walked through the claims of the Shemra phonetic system. It's a lens that suggests a whole hidden layer of meaning in the words we hear all the time. And it leaves us with a final, really big question. If sounds actually carry their own messages, totally independent of our translations, then what are we all really hearing and what are we all really saying every single day?